If you look into basically the posterior aspect of the buccal cavity here, or the oral cavity, at the very end you're going to see the epiglottis. Now this epiglottis is made from the epiglottal cartilage that technically belongs to the larynx. But as we look at this and we poke in this direction, we poke the probe through here, this is making its way back up towards the nasal cavity, right? So technically, if we compare this to the human, this is what the nasal pharynx would be. Right? Then as we made our way back down, at the end of the soft palate, then you would see the oropharynx. And then as I poke down towards the larynx, this would be the laryngopharynx. That laryngopharynx then would lead me either to the larynx or to the esophagus. Now obviously this is the respiratory system, so we're going into the larynx, which is going to be this large cartilaginous structure here that you see surrounded by this muscle. Now for the larynx, make sure you guys, hopefully you guys have pictures of all the models that we looked at. Make sure you can identify all of those cartilages. Here on the cat you can see, besides the epiglottal cartilage on the epiglottis, you can see the thyroid cartilage, which is going to be this large cartilage here. And then just caudal to that, you'll have the cricoid cartilage. Right? So thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage. This whole structure then is the larynx. In humans, it's also known as the voice box. Right? That's where the vocal cords are there. Continuing caudal from there, that's where you see your trachea. So if you look at the trachea carefully, you would see those hyaline cartilage rings that maintain this airway open. And then just for the sake of comparison, posterior to the trachea, you would have the esophagus. And you see that the esophagus is not open, it's actually completely flat. So if you follow that trachea down, eventually that would split into the primary bronchi that would go into the lungs, and then it would continue to split there, right? Secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, bronchioles, and then terminal bronchioles. And then of course you see the lungs here, and then the diaphragm, which would be the large respiratory muscle. Right? Getting into the digestive system now. Obviously we would start back with the buccal cavity. That food stuff would pass through the pharynx, again the oropharynx and the laryngopharynx, but this time it would actually end up in the esophagus. So there's our esophagus. Into the stomach, which the stomach is here. Doesn't look like you guys cut the stomach, so you don't see the rugae, but normally if you were to open this you would see those rugae, those muscular ridges, right?
Okay.
So that would be the stomach. From the stomach it would pass into the duodenum. Yeah.
Do you want a napkin or a glove?
Just a glove would be good.
Do you want me to open it?
We're good. We can see it right here. Let's see. There we go. Right there. Yeah, I'll take those gloves. Really get in here, right? So here's the stomach again. Right? This would be the cardiac region, the fundus, the body of the stomach, the pyloric region, which would end at the pyloric sphincter. And you kind of see that it constricts there. Distal to that, you would have the duodenum, which is the first segment of the small intestine. Now, as we follow this away, that duodenum will then give way to the jejunum, which is most of this convoluted mass that you're seeing here. Most of this back here. Actually, covered right here. This is all jejunum. Now eventually that jejunum will also give way to the ileum, which the ileum now becomes the latter part of that small intestine, eventually ending at the colon. Right, now the region of the colon that it ends is this pouch-like structure known as the cecum. At the end, you would also see the ileocecal valve, right, where it's that one-way valve that's going to move materials into the cecum and prevent that materials from coming back into the ileum. Now, in humans, once we get to the cecum, you would enter the ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, then rectum and anus. In case of the cat, we really don't see a whole lot of that, right? It's just going to be colon, right?
Okay.
But no other terms for the human, right? And be able to identify those as well. and then that would go out to the anus, and that's basically the end of the GI tract. Now, as far as some of the accessory structures, obviously here's our liver, the cat's liver with the gallbladder, right? The liver is what will produce the bile to emulsify fats and help with fat digestion. Well, after that production, the gallbladder will store that bile until we actually need it, right? And it will secrete that bile or release that bile into the duodenum. Here's our greater omentum. Kind of deep to the greater omentum, you see this large, in the human body, pennant-shaped structure. This is the pancreas. And the pancreas is a very important organ for digestion because this will secrete many of the enzymes that will complete digestion in the duodenum. And it has a pancreatic duct that will just terminate at that duodenum. Aside from that, you see the mesentery, right? The greater omentum. Here is the spleen. Obviously, you have your kidney here with the ureter attached. Urinary bladder, urethra, the ovary right there, leading to the horns of the uterus. Where these two combine, it's the uterus, and as you continue caudally from here, that'll lead into the vagina and out. And I think that's it.
I think that's it, right?